God. Yes, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. So, 100-day project. We are all at very different points right now in our 100-day project journey. Roben-Marie just told me it's day 40. Some of us started strong and some of us have missed some days and some of us have completely changed direction. So that's what we are going to chat about today because, as you know, it's not about doing it perfectly. It's about showing up and see what happens. And each year, just something different always happens. So today, I am joined by 3 wonderful artists, and I feel very privileged to call them my friends. And they have all completed the 100-day project before and are doing it again this year as well. So I would love to introduce Andrea Chebeleu, Minette Riordan, and Roben-Marie Smith. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. Mm-hmm. All righty. Why don't we just start out by letting folks know what you're doing this year? So Roben-Marie, you want to start out?
Sure. Yeah, I really switched it up this year. This is my 10th year. The previous 9 years, I chose to do what is called producing, basically. So I would come up with an idea and then I would create 100 of whatever that was. And so I did that for 9 years. And I felt very comfortable with that. It was like, I can do this. And this year I decided I don't want to do that again. I want to try something that really stretches me and pushes me. So I decided to do, rather than producing, I am learning a skill. I'm practicing and playing a little at the same time. I've wanted to sketch forever and draw forever and decided this is the year. So that is what I chose. So that's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, do you have anything you can show us, or are you not sharing? Are you not?
No, I don't mind sharing right now. Share.
Just hold it up to the screen.
Okay. I just happen to have my book here because I was showing my husband my sketches from this morning. So yeah, but I'm not good at this. Like I'm just learning. I'm learning about the tools and the paper and the whole thing. So, and what I like and what I don't like, which I think will help me then figure out where to focus so that I can find my style and figure out, what is that going to be? So
go on, hold up your book. Let's just see.
Okay. Well, I'm just kind of doing things in other, never mind. It doesn't matter. But okay. So this is just some sketches from this week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Then I saw something on Instagram where they were doing these food product containers.
Oh my gosh. I love those.
And I love the wonky imperfect.
Love.
And so like I said, I'm figuring out what mediums do I like and what don't I like. So it's a process, but I am loving it. And 40 days has flown by. Like I'm literally going, what? 40 days? Really? So it's been good. I'm so glad I overcame my fear of just trying and doing it and saying, all right, don't do what you did before. Do something that's not comfortable. And it's not comfortable. And there's been a couple days where I was like, I'm out, I'm done. I can't do this, but I'm so, all right.
Oh, thanks. That's amazing. How about you, Minette? What are your plans this year? What are you doing?
Yeah, so similar to Roben-Marie in the past, and I think this is maybe my 6th year, and a lot of stops and starts. I've out of the 6 years, only finished probably a couple of those. And this year I was really looking for that personal introspective process that was simple. That's my version of morning pages without all the writing and with the art incorporated. And so I also learned from Roben-Marie about having themes so I don't get bored, right? So for 100 prompts, but every 20 days, the theme shifts. And the art shifts. So for the first 20 days, I'm working in a big journal, right? And so a little writing and a little sketching. And then the second 20 days, I switched to collage, which I love, right? So intuitive collage. Next week, and I'm so glad Roben-Marie's here and Andrea's here, and well, all of you are here because you probably have answers. I'm on the road for a week, and I'm not taking this big old chunk, right? Like, so I've stayed faithful. I wanted to start on a Monday, so I'm on day 39. Not day 40 for me. I've been doing it all on YouTube, a combination of videos and shorts, which has been a real stretch. My word of the year is visibility, making the inside visible. on the outside. So it has been an emotional stretch, a lot of growing, a lot of days where I'm like, I'm not sure I want to share this. Like, how much do I really share? And being really honest with myself. So the last 20 days have all been about my relationship with my body, which is challenging to say the least. And it's been good. But my curious question is, what do I take on the road when I go next week so that I stay on the path, right? Because I'm spending maybe 10 to 15 minutes a day. I have the time, but a different journal, like a different tool. I don't know. So I'm open to suggestions when we get to that part.
Ooh, okay. And folks in the chat too, if you want to give Minette suggestions, I think that'd be cool. How about you, Andrea? Thanks, Minette.
I too, I think, yeah, thanks both of you for sharing where you are in it. And I have been keeping up. This is probably my 7th year doing it, 6th or 7th year. And I've completed it several times. Some last year was a no-go, and the year before, you can see back here in the back of my, move my hand the right way. Yeah. I have a grid, a 10 by 10 grid set up on my wall, which I'm doing 4x6s. And so each of them are numbered. And when the day comes, I flip it around. That's the way that I am very visual. And so I need to see my progress. And it's like that gold star for me every day. It's like that little dopamine hit. I did it, just the little something. And so I started out with high hopes of like, I'm going to gamify it. It's going to be so much fun. I rolled 3 custom made dice and like had a different whatever, like mix it up every day. And I'm like, oh my word, I cannot. So it's turned into 10-day projects.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And you know what? The second 10 days, I'm like, I want way less stress. And not that it was stressful. It was all stuff that I was familiar with, but it felt a little chaotic. And so the second 10 days, I'm like, what do I really want? And that is, I wanted to go back to watercolor. So I did 10 days and then I did the next 10 days with watercolor. And then this last 10 days, I kind of didn't really have a plan, but I just wanted to follow what was feeling exciting or lighting me up or sparking curiosity or what felt good. Right. And I started again with, I wanted to get back to mixed media and layers away from the just strictly watercolor. And the first day I'm like, oh my God, it's so sticky. Everything's so sticky coming from watercolor back to acrylics. I'm like, ooh. So then day 2, I went back to watercolor. And then the last 8 days, you can see them missing right there because I have them all right here. I taped all the cards together. I was missing a big size. So I guess my whole point in this year's 100-day project is flexibility. And just my intention coming to this is to post every day on Instagram. I've really gotten away from nurturing that appearance. My word last year was visible, Minette, and this year it's fearless. And so, just showing up and being fearless with what I'm, not that it's fearful to show up, but just showing up, being consistent about it, getting back to that. That's how I really started my my group that I run, is showing up every day on social media, on Instagram specifically, and just sharing what I'm doing. Perfectly imperfect is what I'm aiming for. So that's what I'm doing.
Beautiful.
I love it. And I'm not sharing at all. So isn't that interesting? Yeah. I literally haven't, I don't think anyone knows what my project is. I haven't shared it once on Instagram. So like Roben-Marie, I decided to learn a new skill. I have never completed the 100-day project. I've never done it. I start out with high hopes and I've never done it. So I thought, well, I'm going to try again this year. And so far, so good. So like Roben-Marie, I decided to teach myself something that I've never been able to do, which is English paper piecing. So it's a hand quilting technique. And it's challenging, to say the least, but it's something that my mom and I wanted to do together. We loved it, and we kept saying we're going to do that. Well, we never did, like lots of things. So I've been using up some of her fabrics because of course we bought all the things, of course, all the tools, all the right things, and then we never did it. So it's kind of a tribute to her that I'm doing it. But it's, it's a new skill, and it sounds like a cliche, but I'm really having that beginner's mind thing. Like, I'm getting in my head about what's the right size needle. Well, I give my students a hard time when they ask me what size needle. I'm like, just pick a needle, no big deal. Any needle oh, no. I want the right needle. I want the right thread. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's kind of taught me something. So, and I started out strong. So the first 3 weeks I did it every single day. And I found that really helpful because it, like, I learned quickly, like I made mistakes and I, iterated, made another mistake, overcame that. So I found that like intense, like 20 days really helpful. It like gave me real momentum. And now I would say I'm probably doing it 5 days a week. And that feels
Okay.
That feels okay. And I was thinking about, Oliver Burkeman's book, Meditations for Mortals. He has a chapter in there where he talks about everyday-ish. I could go with like, I think the chapter's about consistency. I'm like, I think everyday-ish is okay. So yeah, I've created, and I'm not making anything in particular. I'm just practicing. I'm not doing a quilt. I'm just taking pieces of fabric that I love and putting them together and just seeing where it takes me. So, and that's the first time I've shared it. So there we are.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Will you hold them up again? The colors are so pretty. And I don't know what paper piecing is personally.
So you take a paper shape, very thin, and then you take a piece of fabric. You can kind of see the paper on the back, and then you wrap the fabric around it and you baste it, and then you sew them together. And then when it's all finished, you take out the paper. Oh. But it's all by hand, and the stitches I have to use a magnifying glass to do the stitching. So that's sort of one with bright colors, and I experimented with one with, the center different to all the others, and then pale colors. None of them are finished. None of them are complete projects, but they're just a practice. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this year. So without sharing until now. So
I love that.
Thanks. So Minette, Roben-Marie, you already said that your project is very different this year because you're actually can you kind of compare how you're feeling from the previous 9 years to this year? Like, does it not better or worse? But
no, sure. I mean, 9 years is a long time. Every year was quite different, but yet the same. I was still. Now that I'm 40 days in, and how do I explain it? I think I almost at the very end or the very beginning just nixed it and said, I'm not going to do this. Like, it was just, it's going to be too hard. I can't do this. Like, that was and it's funny that you said that about the beginner's mindset, because I was on my group the other day and they were like, you need to use the good paper. Stop using the cheap paper. Because I keep using the cheap paper. And it's wrinkling and the watercolor doesn't work well. And they're like, you need to use the good paper. You have the paper, just use it. I'm like, I know. But it's like, that's what beginners, I can't. It's, it's too precious. Yeah. So I would say can I say that I'm actually having more fun? I'm actually having more fun. And that's probably the right way to say it. I really look forward to going in there and just going, all right, what's going to happen today? Because it's different every day, because I'm trying different mediums. I'm trying different style. Like, I'm trying to I'm taking different classes and lessons to learn, not from one person. I want to try to learn the skills from different people and how they approach it so that I can figure out what I like. And I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the first 9 years, but I knew what every day was going to be like. All right, I'm making another book, or I'm making another thing. This time it's, oh my gosh. And last night when I showed my husband, who had the skill of drawing when he was younger and never kept up with it, he said to me last night, he goes, you're really getting much, much better. He goes, I'm so proud of you for sticking with this. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So I think it's just that I'm just really excited. And even when it's not good, it's okay, because I'm learning something. Yeah. And I like the fact that I decided mine's called 100 Days of Creative Drifting, where I'm drifting between the different mediums, different ways, so that I can figure out, not just sit down and I'm only going to use pen. Like what, use pencil, use crayons, use watercolor. What is it that you like? And so I just really feel like I just have a spark of excitement that's a little bit different, because I'm literally learning something new that I didn't know and I've wanted to forever. So I think that's probably the biggest difference in how I feel.
Wow. Can you give us a couple of examples of things you've done in the past so people understand like this kind of production thing?
Yeah. Because there's been, so I've made books with fabric and paper. I've done collage. I've done various stitching projects. I mean, they're all mixed media in nature. There's just been a lot of them. And oftentimes it had like a little theme, where my very first year, though, when I first discovered the 100-Day Project, I decided it was not the best choice, but I decided to do what I called anthropology stories, where I took anthropology catalogs and I created these collages and tags and little books all around an image that was in the ad or whatever. Like it might have been a plate full of fruit. And then I wrote a story about it, The Girl That Hates to Write. So I did 2 projects that year. I did the actual project and I wrote about it. And looking back on it, it was like, what was I thinking? That was insane.
Yeah.
So that was the first year. And then, each year's just kind of been different since then. But yeah, but yeah, it's different this year. It feels a lot different for sure.
I'm noticing though, between the 3 of you, you're all like mixing up the mediums, and like, do you feel like that might be a key to, when I say success, what I mean, I'm not sure how we define success for this, but do you feel like that's helpful, Andrea, to like, rather than just saying, I'm only going to do watercolor for 100 days?
Absolutely. Giving myself permission to, if it feels like a drag or like I'm forcing myself to get, I'm not about that anymore. I'm so past that, pushing myself beyond my there are certain things that are worth it to push myself beyond my comfort zone. Like I'm really admiring Roben-Marie's drawing. And I, for years, have said I want to get better at that. Last year, my project was draw 100 chairs. I just chose that motif. And like every day it was a chair. And I think I made it to day 24. And then that was it. But yeah, allowing myself to switch it up has been huge. And also connecting with other people. So I'm in a collaboration with, we're doing 100 days with ABC. It's Andrea, Bibi Henry, and Crystal Gurney. So the 3 of us are checking in every 10 days. And we're doing that today at noon, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
Noon Pacific. So, in a few hours. But yeah, we're just kind of checking in with one another. And so having that gentle accountability, and nobody's there to say, oh, you didn't do it, shame on you. No, none of that. Absolutely zero of that. But just really checking in on energy levels and is it still exciting? And yeah, so just making sure that it stays fresh and that I don't forget my why of showing up, of committing to doing the 100-Day Project. Is I was committed to doing 100 days of it. And I really wanted to do, I've done in the past where I've batch created. So it checked the box, but I wasn't doing it consistently, a little bit at a time every day. And this year I was really committed to just showing up every day, and whatever that looked like is what it looked like. But sticking close to my why has been really helpful.
I love that. And I like the gentle accountability of doing with others. I imagine that's really supportive.
Very, very much so.
Do you have a why, Minette, this year?
Yeah. So like Roben-Marie, it's usually skill-based or interest in the moment. So 2 years ago, I did 100 animal postcards, and I got watercolor postcards, and I drew, I Zentangled, I had colored pencil, I collaged, but I did 100 animal postcards and then sent them to people, right? So that was fun and productive and helped with drawing. Last year, I was just obsessed with paper dolls. So I did 100 days of paper dolls. And again, I think like Andrea, every 10 days, I changed the theme of the dolls and the media, right? So I did a bunch on playing cards that were super cute. I did a bunch that were articulated with brads, right? I did a bunch using magazine images. And so for me, having both the theme and the variety kept me engaged.
Yeah.
Right. So and because so much of my work is introspective and about making art that's meaningful, there had to be some type of a prompt or a curiosity to keep me connected. So my why is, what can I learn about myself in this process as a woman, as a 60-year-old woman, and as an artist, right? So for me, that has kept me going. And this year it's 100 days of creative discovery. I love Roben-Marie at creative drifting, creative discovery. And it's been the most challenging one because it's been so visible. In the past, I was more like you, Allie. Sometimes I'd share, sometimes I wouldn't. It was a very personal project. So this year it's personal and public. And it feels different. I feel it in my gut a little bit about what I'm putting out there. And at, my Monday video, having so many people say, I'm with you, I'm here, that are doing the prompts with me and giving their reflections on the prompts. Like that is for me, the reciprocity of doing it publicly is I don't have to do this work alone.
Yeah. Wow. So you're posting once a week on YouTube?
One longer video once a week with the theme, the prompts for the day and the week, and then a short every day. And like Andrea, I had a cold in March. So there was, I did some batch creating, or it'll get to 6 or 7 o'clock and I'm like, oh, poo, I forgot to do it today. So it goes to the next day. So that every day-ish is, it has to work for me. Right?
And you're traveling next week.
And I'm traveling, and I could batch create, but I don't get the same benefit personally when I do the batch creating as I do when I'm engaged in my own daily creative practice.
Right. Yeah. That's
Thank you, Yvonne. Hello, Yvonne.
Oh, nice. Folks joining us. I love it.
Allie, we can't respond to these comments here on StreamYard. Like they're coming from Facebook. I can't click or I can't respond to anybody.
No, I'm sorry.
We see you. We just can't respond.
I'm just seeing if there's anything.
We can go in later, right?
Yeah, we can ask any questions.
Or respond verbally.
I didn't have it clicked over, so I wasn't seeing any comments. I was still looking at the private chat. So now I see them all.
Oh my gosh. Well, if there are any specific questions, I'll put them up on screen and you can verbally answer them. So just know, folks, everyone is seeing what you're commenting. So keep telling us. What I thought was interesting, Roben-Marie, was because we've talked about the 100-day project over the years many times between the four of us. And I always remember you saying ages ago that you look forward to it each year because it was like a new body of work. Do you know what I mean? And do you feel like it's different this year, or just feel like it's just the same, but it's a different body of work?
Great question. Yeah, because I felt like, and what came up, and I don't know if it was last year or the year before, I was talking with a friend and I was saying something about, well, I've never created a body of work. Like I always thought of that as being, paintings where you have, a whole bunch of them. And she goes, you've done the 100-day project for how many years? And you've done 100 every time. That's a body of work. And it was just, it was like this light went off and I was like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
This year it is different because but I feel like this book, and I'm going to get to the good paper book. I know I will. It will be like this body of work, but different. It's, and who knows what that will then turn into later. Like, I don't know where that's going. But I don't have to know because I'm not making something. I'm just learning something. And that is so far removed from what I've been doing for so many years. It's always got, my business or whatever. It's like creating a class. I'm like, I just want to do this for me. And so I feel like it is going to be sort of a body of work, just different. Right. So
I guess that's how I always felt like it had to be related to my work. So it had to be, it had to make books, or I had to maybe do something inside books, or it had to be, just had to be something that was related to my business. So this year, and so I wonder if that's why I've always failed or not even started, because it felt overwhelming. So I guess maybe that goes back to the why, right? It's like this year has nothing. I don't teach quilting. I never will teach quilting. So, so I think we've all, Andrea has admitted that, she started last year, did 24 days. I've started and never finished. I know, Minette, I think you haven't always finished. Maybe ask Andrea this question. What advice would you have for someone who gets really hung up on, like, well, if I miss day 5, then the whole thing's ruined, or this kind of really, that's
truly.
It goes to
you just have to have a strong why in the beginning, and maybe you wanted to commit to something, and you know what, you committed to it for 5 days. Can you recommit? Do you want to recommit?
Yeah.
What, like, nobody is saying you fail if you don't, whatever. It's a personal project. It's something that you can absolutely choose to dip out of 5 days in. The fact that you started it is amazing. And maybe the lesson you need to learn is it's okay to start things and not finish them. There are a lot of people in my membership who that is a lesson that we talk about a lot. Like, how many classes have you signed up for and never completed? And can you be okay with that? Can your nervous system be okay with starting something and not completing it? And maybe that's the lesson for the year, right? Maybe that's the lesson, learning gentle self-compassion. And what starts out feeling so exciting dims a little bit when reality sets in, and you travel and you do this and you do that. And then some days I have less energy than other days. And some days I lose track of what my why was. But learning that gentle compassion and realizing, like, this is all supposed to be fun and games. This is not supposed to be something that I get so anxious over. There's enough stuff out there that I can be anxious over. And this 100-day project is not one of them. So,
I love that. Minette, what do you feel like maybe in the past or this year, like, what, even if you didn't finish, like, what was your lesson to learn? Have you ever had any of those where you're like,
often where, similar to what Andrea said, where I take on too much, where the project's too big. And one of the things that helped me most with that was Roben-Marie's brilliant planner that she created to help prepare for the 100-day project. Helped me understand, like, the scope of what this was supposed to be. And Andrea said it also, like, it needed to be personally fun for me and not related to work. We all do so much creative and content creation for our businesses and for our memberships and our courses and our retreats and all the things that we all do, that I needed something that was just for me. Right. And so that, I think, has really helped, approaching it with that playful curiosity of, well, what sounds like fun? And then I think it might sound like fun and it doesn't sound like fun. But if I stop today, I've done 38 days of my own creative reflection practice. And I've learned a ton about myself. And if I stopped here, it's still a success. Right. I don't plan on stopping.
Right.
But knowing that I did more art than I would have if I hadn't started. Right. So I think is a big one for me. And again, the thing that keeps me going, because my brain gets bored really fast, is the variety. It has to be variety. So looking at Roben-Marie's, like, drawing pages, or Andrea with the different media, or even you, like, testing different colors, it's that feeling of, how can I stay in my theme and keep it interesting, if that makes sense, right?
Well, it does, because I'm noticing a 10-day theme here from all of you.
Yeah, this year I did 20. Yeah.
Oh, is it 20? Oh, okay.
Which is long.
Yeah. So maybe next year we'll go back to 10.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. What else was I curious about? Like, the accountability piece, I think, is really interesting. So, Minette, you're accountable because you're doing it on YouTube. Andrea, you're accountable because you're doing it with 2 friends. Roben-Marie, is there any accountability for you? Because I don't have any.
Yeah. Well, I say no, but in my membership, I have a cohort going through it because I know that a lot of people do need that to help them. I don't particularly need that. I'm one of those people that I can set a goal and say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And by golly, I'm just going to do it. Like, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's not easy, but I don't have someone but I am tuning into the group and saying, here's where I'm at and here's what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm writing a lot of that actually in my sketchbook too. Like I'm
Mm.
writing notes and things in there about things that I'm feeling like or things I've discovered. And I remember, you know, this is a journey of learning. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to forget those things, but I know that there's many in the group in the cohort who are finding that very helpful. Just having somebody that understands, because if you're new to it, you know, there's going to be around that day 30, you're ready to drop out. Day 70-ish is a pretty consistent number to be going, because you're going, wow, I've gotten to day 70. And then you go, oh, I've got 30 more days. And I don't mean that in a negative. I just mean it's you feel this, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like if you're somebody who could really benefit from that, that's a bonus. Like that's a plus for sure.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I almost didn't want any accountability this year. Like the more visible it is, then I feel like the worse I'm going to feel about myself if I don't do it. So keeping it private, actually, I think it's going to work better for me. And it's interesting you said about making notes, because, you know, I said for those first 3 weeks, it was, you know, very intense, like every day, and quite, you know, decent periods of time I would spend on it. And I found myself like making notes, not just, well, I mean, technical notes on like, oh, this works better or this works better, but sort of process notes, like what I'm learning and just some of the things I shared about, you know, what's the right needle, and just maybe being a little more compassionate to people who are beginners. So I just, do you do that too? It sounds like you do that, Minette, too, like sort of reflect on the practice itself, or maybe this year it's all actually into one.
Yeah, so for me, I'm such a verbal processor. The benefit of the YouTubes is like I'm talking through what I'm doing for my own benefit, regardless of anyone else's benefit. It helps me to talk it through. But what I'm learning is my process works for me. Like my curious question was, I have this simple 4-step process. It starts with a prompt, some short written reflection, some creative, and then what's my insight from this at the end, right? And the prompt changes every day, but the process stays exactly the same. And it's working for me personally.
Ooh.
So the simplicity of it is deceptive. And, you know, it's easy to have a lot of great ideas. And then it's like, do the ideas actually work? Well, it's working for me. And so regardless of whether it's working for others or not, I feel like I've settled on something that's a lifelong practice. Like other people are avid morning page writers. Andrea is one of those, right? And Andrea has her version of doing that as well. You can hold up your giant book.
Yeah.
Yes. And which I have my giant book right here beside me as well. But I found that the morning pages didn't work for me, but I wanted that consistent touchstone every day.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, how can I do this that it gets both the written reflection, and for me, what's so essential is that visual reflection, the intuitive creative. And so putting it, and I needed a process because otherwise I'm all over the map. So I needed structure, but because I'm creative, it had to be very flexible. Right.
Yeah.
You know, so I can work inside of it, and it's working. Right. And I'm like, could something this simple actually create insights and breakthroughs? Yes.
Wow. Can you run through it again? So can you give me an example of the prompt?
Sure. Yesterday's prompt was, how do I want to feel in my body in the next decade? We're not talking light prompts here.
No.
Right? Yeah. So this 20 days has been intense. And then some simple reflection, right? Like 3 or 4 sentences of what do I think about this? Then some kind of creative, because as soon as we go visual, we access our unconscious. And then what's the insight I get from that? Because the art always tells us something that our writing doesn't, because our writing usually comes from our head space. The art comes from our heart or our soul space, right? And then that insight piece of, or integration. Sometimes it's an action, right?
Yeah.
Like how I want to feel in the next 10 years. I want to feel alive, healthy, strong, and have energy to do all the fun things I want to do.
Right.
Well, Minette, start now, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
That's your insight.
yeah, it's like that's the insight. It's like start now and do more of what you're already doing. And so just noticing how such a simple process can have a profound impact, just like daily drawing. Like daily drawing for me does the same thing. It's both mental, but it's so emotional as well. And then it's introspective. And what am I learning about myself through this process? Like talk about bring up your inner critic. I don't know about you, Roben-Marie, but my drawing practice brings up my inner critic, right? So I have to deal with that too on a regular basis.
Huh. How about you, Andrea? Do you, I mean, because you are, you journal a lot. Do you find yourself, reflecting on the 100-day project in your morning pages or not really? Are they separate?
They're kind of separate, except when I notice that, my energy, my creative energy, I'm sure I'm not alone because we've talked about this before, but those of us who do create out loud in front of people, when I go through these lulls where I'm not feeling super creative or inspired or excited about anything, that's when I go to my journal. I'm in my journal every day anyway, but that's what I'm writing about is what else is going on here, and recognizing that I naturally experience those highs and lows, and not to worry when I'm in a low. Like it's not going to last forever. It may last longer than I'm comfortable with it lasting, but it will come back. And then processing things like what has worked in the past to move me through this period gently, right? Usually it's taking my focus off of what I've been focusing on and get outside or get in a different environment. Yeah. So as far as documenting it, I've always had high hopes of like, yes, I'm going to document. I'm somewhere in the middle of 1,000 Houses project, which started more than a decade ago. Wow. And I couldn't tell you where I am on it because I didn't document any of it. So, in hindsight, that would have been really cool to document every single one, but it's kind of fallen by the wayside. And
that's okay.
I love having this visual up here. And so really, truly, I felt successful when I got all 100 cards up on the wall. Yeah. It really doesn't matter now what goes on those cards. It's the fact that they're there, they're holding space. It's a visual reminder every day. It's a visual reminder every day that it's a tiny little bit of commitment to achieve really big things. Like a body of 100 pieces of artwork is really outstanding. And how much time I commit to it can be 8 minutes. It could be 15 minutes. It could be 45 minutes. I started out setting a timer because I didn't want to overextend myself. And yeah. Nice. Anyway.
Well, thank you. So I want to come back to something Minette said about how this sort of process, whether it's new or whether you've been doing it for a while, Minette, I'm not sure, but this is probably something you're going to take forward in your practice. Has that ever happened to you, Roben-Marie or Andrea, where you've been doing something in the 100-day project, this year, and I suspect perhaps for you, Roben-Marie, this year, you may bring it forward, but you did the practice, whether you did 100 days or not, or created the work, and then it sort of changed how you showed up daily, or do you feel like they're just isolated bodies of work and you just moved on? Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. Do you want to jump in, Roben-Marie?
Yeah, it's funny that I was like, I hadn't really thought about that. That's a great question. I would say it was just like, this is just another thing I'm doing. It's part of the journey, and whoop, done. Okay, what's next? I don't feel like, because like this year I'm learning a skill and I really, really want to stick with it. And I want to continue a sketching practice. I feel like, I'm starting out with things that are relatively easy, avocados and blueberries are not that hard. But then eventually urban sketching, going outside, sketching people, sketching things in my house, that's scary. But I'd like to get to a point where I'm one of those people that has something documented where I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that, even if it's just something simple. And I know that I just need to keep doing it every day, or I'm not going to get better at it. So yes, I see myself this time definitely continuing it. And it's not that the projects I did before, they were all part of mixed media and things that I did anyway. It was just, okay, let's do this. So I don't feel like it was, I'm going to continue making more of these collages or more of these books, whatever. It was just sort of like, okay, yeah, that was exciting. I'm glad I did that. Okay, what's next?
Yeah. You got what you needed from it.
Too, just like Minette. It's like, okay, what's next? Like I did that. I'm ready for something else. But this time I feel differently because I feel like even after 100 days, I'm not just going to stop doing this.
Right.
But I wasn't going to continue making books every day. No, we're making journals. Like I didn't make a book every day. My way of approaching the 100-day project is touch that project in some way every day if you can. And that might have been cutting paper. It might have been organizing the fabrics. It might have been doing the stitching. I might have done, so it was like just touching it in some way. And do you miss days? I've missed days, but I just always go, okay, it's okay. It's part of it. You're traveling, you're sick, just keep going. So yeah, but I definitely feel like this year, definitely I will be continuing this and keeping this as a practice in some way. Yeah. I'm a very, 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 very slow creator.
Oh, like really?
A really, really long time. Anything.
I don't know that.
I am. I'm so slow. And so I'm seeing in some of these challenges and lessons that I'm taking, it's like set a timer and you got 3 minutes. That's it. And it's like, wow, okay, what can I do in 3 minutes? And it's surprising me because I'm just very, very slow. I don't know why I'm so slow, but yeah.
Just your process.
It is. Yeah. It is. I get distracted too. I'm watching a movie. It's like, oh, what's going on there? I don't know. But normally I'm pretty slow. So
Roben-Marie, if it makes you feel any better, I just finished reading Sue Monk Kidd's new book called Writing Soul and Creativity, or Writing Creativity and Soul. She's the author of The Secret Life of Bees. Was her?
Yeah, I read it. It was awesome.
Yeah, and it's really good. But she talks specifically about being a slow creator and how, like, she describes her process of like all the notes and scattered pieces of paper all over and organizing them. It's a phenomenal. It's a great read, and it's that reminder. Like, go at your own speed. And for everyone that's listening and those of us that have creative communities, that question of when do I call myself an artist that comes up over and over again. She talks about walking in her front door after she'd already started publishing work and asking her husband, she's like, when do I get to call myself a writer? And he looks at her and he's like, now? And she's like, it was just this moment of, oh, yeah, I am a writer. So it's a very affirming book on owning your own creative process.
Great. Thank you.
I want to read that.
Yeah.
I love, actually, Roben-Marie, sorry, just to back up a little bit, but that idea of just touch the project. I realized that I think you were saying that in the back of my head, because with this project here, some days I would just glue some papers, or I would just cut out some shapes. And I realized, oh, that's actually okay. That's enough.
Yeah, it's contributing to it. If I watch a 10-minute video on YouTube that's showing me how to do something, that's contributing. That's all part of the overall project for me. And I think that's the thing I hear a lot. It's like, well, is it fair, or is it right that I do it this way, or is that cheating? I hear that so many times. Cheating. And I'm like, it's your project. You do it however you want to do it. But I feel like, people are just thinking, no, I have to do this every single day for 100 days. And if it takes you 200 days, it's still 100 days. It's your project. Just like Minette said, work at your own pace and things come up. But, even if it's just a little touch, and if you can't do that little touch because the day got away from you, it's okay. It's your project. There's no cheating. That's the one thing I hear a lot from people. It's like, well, is that cheating? I'm like, no.
There's no 100-day project police.
No.
Really?
No.
That's how that's how it's felt to me in the past. The minute I miss a day, it's over.
It's like the diet, you go on the diet, and you're like, I'm going to do this. And then you eat
the hamburger.
And you go, it's over. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm 70 days in and I've done so good. I'm like, nope, I'm out. I did the brownie. I'm done.
Yeah, it's like the black and white thinking, all or nothing.
Yes.
Correct.
No. Andrea, have you come across that when you were doing it? Like, because I know with the chairs, like, you've got 24 days in. Has it happened to you where you've just been like, oh, okay, I'm out? Or
Yeah, I think when it's not fun and I don't have any idea of how it could be fun again,
yeah,
it just feels like, well, that was this year. I'll try again next year.
yeah,
What kind of back to, I'm not sure if this touched on what we've been talking about so far, but one of the things that I've noticed this year is that, and I know I'm going to get all teary about this. I know we have talked about how art heals, how art is so good for our nervous systems and all of that. I have experienced it over and over again. I told you the first 10 days I was doing the thing that I thought I was excited about. And then I recognized I had a longing to do something different.
yeah.
And when I actually allowed myself to do that thing, to follow whatever it was, because it wasn't the path that I started on, I just jumped paths and I did this thing. I felt in my nervous system, I felt a calming, a relaxing, a deeper breath. And I'm like, this is what it's all about. It's not about sticking with the formula or, showing up, visibly every day or any of that. It's using this practice for its healing effects, for its, calming of my nervous system, of noticing when something didn't feel right. I honored that within myself and I switched and I changed and I didn't force myself to do something just because I had committed to it. Yes, personal integrity is very important to me. And 100 Day Andrea is going to be so freaking proud of the work that I did.
Yeah.
And it's, the energy may wane, but I've gotten everything out of this project that I needed to get out of it. And it will be a practice that I go forward, like recognizing what I'm longing for, what I'm yearning for, and honor that.
Oh, I love that. Minette, do you have it? I can see you nodding. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, so beautifully said. And I think that the intention of the 100-Day Project was to do something creative every day, not to follow a set of rules, not to follow a formula, like Andrea said. I've always started with a formula and never stuck to it. And so I agree with Andrea. It's like, same. If I stop now, I got exactly what I needed out of this project. And that's a beautiful question to ask. Well, two questions. Andrea's question, what am I longing for? And follow that, because it builds self-trust. And so many of us have lost self-trust. And the second one is, have I gotten what I needed?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Just pause and ask yourself that question. Well, let's ask Roben-Marie. Do you feel like you have got what you needed so far?
I do. I really, and it's actually very surprising, because last week, if you'd asked me, I go, oh, I'm so frustrated with myself. Like it was just, I can't do this. I can't do this. But somebody had mentioned too, that you have to have the failures and you have to have the things that aren't perfect in order to have the breakthrough, to get to being better at something. I mean, I didn't start out doing anything knowing exactly how to do it. Like, I guess I've always felt like this was something that you just had to have talent to do. And you just have to develop the skill to do it. And it will be your style, whatever that looks like. Will mine be like realistic? No, I don't even like that. I like something that's not realistic, because to me, it's more interesting. And that's what I'm drawn to. So I feel like even if today I couldn't sketch anymore, I'm very excited about what I've done so far and feeling like, oh my gosh, and it's funny that you said this, Allie, because it's almost like I feel in a way, the way my students feel, where it's like, I am a real beginner and I'm like going through the same things of the frustration, and it doesn't look like the teachers, and I can't use the good paper because, what if I ruin it or whatever? So it's interesting that I'm going through all of that mindset too and experiencing that. But I feel like even if today I couldn't do any more, it's been awesome. And I'm so excited. but I'm more excited about what's to come because I don't know where I'll be. And I'm so, so glad that I decided to do it and not give up and say, nope, I just can't do it. I'm not going to, because I told myself, I've been here before, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, I thought, oh, well, I'll do this. I did some sketches and then I stopped. And I was like, I don't want to look at 100 days from now and go, well, I wonder what would it have been like if I had actually tried. And, you know, who knows? I might still get to 100 days and go, I still have a long way to go. But I don't think after 40 days, I'm going to feel that way. I'm going to feel like that much more excited about where things are going. So, so I'm just glad I didn't stop myself, and I didn't put the obstacle of myself in front of me, because I was definitely looking to do that. So, but yeah, so I think that answered your question. Yeah. Have I gotten out of it? What? Yeah. I'm actually just kind of excited about creativity again, because it's something that's for me. Right. I love what I do, and I love mixed media and all the things, but this feels like it's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel. This is mine. This is for me.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm kind of waning a little bit, because I've got, like, the learning curve was really steep, and now I'm past that learning curve, and now I'm feeling like I got a rhythm. I know what I'm doing. And now my interest is kind of plateauing a little bit. So I feel motivated again by you ladies to keep going. Because while it's hard and difficult and I'm engaged, it's like, oh, it's great. But so now I'm just going to take my wisdom from you to keep.
Well, and it's also too, your project has some sentimental connection as well with your mom. And so it's almost like you're able to reflect on times with her and that. So there's that little element of it that's even more personal for you.
Yeah, it's quite a big why. And I'm using her fabric too. So from her stash, which, you know, we all have a lot of fabric. She had a lot of fabric. So yeah, it's not a lot that I bought with her when we would go out to a specific store we loved. So, you know, each piece of fabric's got like a memory. So so yeah. Another thing I really like about this project is how portable it is. It all fits in this. So if I go somewhere, you know, I have, you know, a needle, a thread, and then they're in here actually, just, you know, a little pile of hexagons like that. So it's like, it's rare for me. I mean, slow stitching is a little bit like that. It's rare for me to have something that would literally just fit in my pocketbook. So that I found kind of interesting, rather than sort of needing all of the supplies and all of the things. So, so yes. Right, we are running out of time. So is there any kind of last things that you would like to add? Perhaps advice for anyone who's sitting at home feeling like, oh, I want to start? Because you don't have to start in February, folks. You can start a 10-day project. Maybe you don't have to do a 100-day project. Maybe it could be a 7-day project. But do you have, I mean, Minette, do you want to start? Do you have any advice for anyone who wants to start something like this?
Follow your curiosity, like Roben-Marie, right? Like wanted to get better at drawing, like follow your curiosity. Follow your longing, like Andrea said, but is there something you want to learn? I find the 100-day project or a 7-day, because like you, when it's still new and challenging, I'm all in. But once I've learned it, I'm like, what's next? Right? So follow your curiosity. And when you feel the boredom creep in, check in on that boredom, right? Is it because you've learned what you wanted to learn? Give yourself permission to move on to the next project.
Yeah. Nice. Andrew, do you have any last minute advice for folks?
I would say what's worked for me is to make it visible. Find somewhere you can put a set of something up, a collection of something. If you really want to create a collection, make it visible so you can see your progress on it. Don't put it away, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And it feels heavier when it's out of sight. It feels like there's something that I'm not remembering, or I don't know. It's having it up and visible has been key for me.
Yeah, that's a really smart idea. It really is. Roben-Marie, do you have any last pearls of wisdom?
I think in starting this, and Minette mentioned it earlier, I think the preparation and the planning is important.
Really?
I feel like if I just showed up on day one and sat down and said, what do I want to do to, you know, and that's why I created the planner.
Yes.
Because it was a way for me to really ask the questions, much like Minette said, what's the why? And Andrea said, but to literally plan not like every little element, but I prepare my workplace. I cleaned my studio table. I brought supplies out that I knew that I would be using, so that it would be easy for me to go in there and just do. Now this time around, it's even easier because, like you, Allie, I can take things in a pouch and I can go with.
Yeah.
But I think that pre-planning and asking me myself the questions, and then, how, I don't know. I'm just one of those people that if I can already pre-prepare and plan for some of the things that will happen and how I might respond to them, it's easier for me to deal with it when the time comes. Not that life is like that, but I think just pre-planning and just kind of being organized in the beginning of, all right, this is, and thinking it through, because much like Andrea said about the chairs, well, do furniture. Maybe, that wasn't something you wanted to stick with, but I saw in the comments, you can change and you can adapt. One year I did fabric books that morphed into something else. Like, it's okay. But I think just being prepared in the beginning, not just showing up on day one going, what am I going to do?
Right.
Think about
for success
and prepare and get your stuff together and ready.
Yeah.
Sometimes I dabble for a little bit before it starts and I play around a little bit to say, oh, I like this. And oftentimes it's something that I've been interested in or I've been thinking about that has leveraged me into whatever that 100-day project is going to be in that moment. Like Minette was saying, what she was interested in that time period. So, but I think flexibility and planning is important.
I love it.
Sounds kind of boring, but it works.
No. Well, clearly it works because you've done it for 10 years. So planning, follow your curiosity, and make it visual, people. So,
see there, look at that. What about you, Allie?
What would well, I don't feel qualified. Frankly, I don't feel qualified to give advice. Permission, I guess, just permission. Just give yourself permission to, and give yourself permission to not share it if you don't want to.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Just, if you want to keep it private and personal, of course, now we're on YouTube and Facebook, and everyone knows. But I probably won't share again. So,
but there is that pressure.
Show up even if you don't feel qualified.
Yeah,
right.
There you go. I love that. Well, thank you, ladies. Folks watching the recording, underneath we will put links to stay in touch with Minette, Roben-Marie, and Andrea. I don't know, Roben-Marie, if you do have any kind of link to your planning or blog post or something, because I think folks would probably be really interested in just learning how to plan a 100-day project. So, and Andrea, where can we find you and BB at 12 o'clock? Will that be on YouTube?
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay.
Instagram. Yep.
So go to Andrea's Instagram. And Minette, you are on YouTube.
Yep.
Once a week and every day, right?
Yep.
All right. So make sure you follow along with these ladies. And thank you for taking the time to do this. It was really fun.
Thank you. It was
Thanks
so
for
fun
having
to be
us.
back together.
Yeah.
I think we should do it again at the end and see what
I
happens.
agree.
Will you have us back?
Let me think. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. And thank for folks who were here live and those who watched the recording. It's been great sharing this with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allie.